Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss Despicable Me 4, featuring the voices of Steve Carell, Kristen Wiig, Pierre Coffin, Miranda Cosgrove, Joey King, and Will Ferrell, directed by Chris Renaud. Now, before I get into this movie review, welcome back to Despicable Me slash Minions after I first did it with Despicable Me 3 and the Minions The Rise of Gru. I'm losing my brain. But anyways, the point I'm trying to make is welcome back, and let's see how this movie goes after The Rise of Gru and Despicable Me 3. I remember not really caring for that film too much, the third Despicable Me, but I remember enjoying the second Minions film, so let's see if this is any better. Gru, returning voice of Steve Carell, is on the way to a party that seems like a reunion of his old school that looks like Hogwarts from the Harry Potter films, on a mission to take down his arch nemesis Maxime Lamel, voiced by Will Ferrell, with a couple of his minions, and all of them are returning voices of Pierre Coffin, while Maxime humiliates Gru by calling him a loser of some kind, along with his wife Valentina, voiced by Sofia Vergara. And their old principal, let me see if I'm saying this right, Uba Schlecht? I don't know how you say that name, voiced by the movie's director, Chris Renaud, and forgive me for saying that name a little messed up. And as she gives her favorite student, Maxime, a trophy of Best Villain of the Year, until the AVL, aka the Anti-Villain League, come in to arrest Maxime. Not Maxine with an M, but the Maxime with an M, as he turns into a giant cockroach, as he has an obsession for cockroaches as a little kid, which was kind of odd in my opinion. And Maxine threatens Gru by saying it's not over yet and I know where you live. And he will exterminate Gru as it gets Silas Ramsbottom, returning voice of Steve Coogan, out of retirement. And a plot hole is considered what happened to Valerie Da Vinci, as that was a problem from the get-go. But I'm kind of glad she's not here this time because she was annoying. But I'm not glad about this plot hole, as that was bothering me for some reason at all. And this villain felt wasted, and Will Ferrell felt wasted in this movie in my opinion. Meanwhile, Gru gets home to his wife Lucy, returning voice of Kristen Wiig, and three girls, Margot, returning voice of Miranda Cosgrove, Edith, returning voice of Dana Gayer, I don't know if I said that wrong, please forgive me, and Agnes, now voiced by Madison Sky Poland, and a newborn named Gru Jr., as I'm going to call him Jr. for the rest of the show, who really doesn't like his father, as he gives a pouty face to Gru every single time, and this isn't really that funny, and I'm going to say it now, I did not laugh once in this movie. But I made a smirk once or twice at this point, as the series and the humor from the Minions is running out of gas. And by gas, I mean like gasoline, which is not a good thing at all, as Silas comes to the house and tells Gru Maxime escaped the AVL prison and takes them and his family, as well as the three minions, to a safe house without Kyle the dog, and I guess a pet goat named Lucky, as well as a bunch of minions to the AVL. We have to have a side plot about the minions, and based on the trailers, I can believe it. While the family goes to a small town called Mayflower, and the returning characters are fine in my opinion. And what happened to Drew? And that was another plot hole for me, as he had the minions at the end of the third movie. As this has plot holes all over the place, it's not funny. While the minions go to the AVL, an AVL bus driver named Carl is vandalized on his bus by the minions, while the family gets to Mayflower at the safe house, where their new identities, as Lucy is a hairstylist, being named someone different. I can't remember the names off the top of my head. We're introduced to their next door neighbors, the Prescotts. Perry, voiced by Stephen Colbert, Patsy, voiced by Chloe Finneman, and their daughter Poppy, voiced by Joey King. While one of the minions joining the family gets stuck in the vending machine, and Maxime and Valentina are in an underground place and plan on taking Junior, and the plot is done so many times, like that was a reference to the end of the movie, The Incredibles. And there's so many references to other movies, like superhero movies, I'm going to call them out, as that was bothering me. Gru makes acquaintances with Perry and Poppy in the most painful way possible, as this movie was sometimes painful to watch, while the minions at the AVL train for combat, and Silas asks for 5 volunteers and a bunch of stand back, while the other 5 get superpowers, like a couple of the Fantastic Four, to Spider-Man, to Superman, to one of the X-Men, to even the Hulk, and they get called Mega Minions. And there's a rumor there's a Mega Minion universe, and hopefully that won't be true, as Agnes, after this movie, as Agnes and Edith go to karate class, and Ethan breaks Sensei O'Sullivan's pinky toe, and the story of the family was so badly told to the point it was cliche. Lucy starts on her first day and only day at the salon and burns a woman's hair and runs out of there as quickly as possible. And we continue with Maxime's plot to kidnap Junior, and he creates a giant cockroach to fly with it as a vehicle, like it's a vehicle. While Gru and Junior are in the car waiting for Margot, Gru tries to eat, and Junior purposely pops balloons to annoy him. And a couple of the minions humiliates the one in the vending machine, and Gru is approached by Poppy, and she demands that Gru joins her on a heist, or else she'll expose him. And the minions get some help from the Mega Minions until Silas comes in, as Perry and Patsy come out, and Patsy invites Gru and Lucy to the club, and they go to play some tennis. And at the end of the scene, Poppy tells Gru to meet at the treehouse, or else. And I just don't care at this point. I don't want a Mega Minion universe after this movie. Maxime and Valentina look for Gru, and he tells the audience why he hates Gru, so much because he sang a song that Maxime was going to sing, which explains a lot about the character, as I just don't care. And they run out of gasoline to go to the gas station and get some gasoline, which were weird scenes, while Lucy grocery shops, and Edith and Agnes see a lady whom Lucy screwed up her hair, and she sees Lucy and chases after her like the T-1000 from Terminator 2 theme. And that theme goes on, which bugged me in the trailer as well as this movie, as I was disappointed we didn't hear the theme song for this whole movie. And by the theme song, I'm having a bad, bad day, that song, but only the sound of it. Gru goes to Poppy's treehouse, as she was born to be a villain, and she wants to go to Gru's old school from the start of the movie to steal Lenny, the principal's pet, whatchamacallit. Anyways, they fly on there on a balloon, and as they get there, they forgot to hang onto the balloon and didn't give Gru his gear, and they get in the building and get to the room as Gru comes up with baby powder and show lasers, and Junior crawls through and plays with the buttons and eventually lets him in and have a brief fight with Lenny the... You know what that thing is, and you've seen the trailers, right? And Gru gets a needle on his butt, which was in the trailer, and it was funny there, but it wasn't funny in the movie. And Junior does make Lenny cooperate with his food and takes Lenny with them, while the principal almost catches them. And a couple of minions get away by flying a car with wings, and again, I'm not laughing at this point. Meanwhile, Mega Minions are causing destruction and are perhaps the worst superheroes up for the AVL, as they let the robbers go by cleaning their windows, to burning the trees, as well as a lady's hair and a piece of cat's fur, versus stopping a train like in Spider-Man 2, versus eating the bomb and burps it out and by exploding, like in the Jim Carrey film The Mask. And those references were so bad to the point Silas retires them. I'm like, good, keep them retired, as it may be time to retire the minions as well as the Mega Minions. Gru and Poppy get back home as the next day comes, and Gru and Lucy go to the club to play some tennis with Perry, Patsy, and one of the minions refs the game while Poppy goes to their house and have some fun, and the principal comes to the door while they play in the house, and the principal barges into their house, and Margot texts Gru saying the kids are in danger as their cover is blown, and Silas finds out and assembles the Mega Minions, and at this point, I just don't care. And as you can tell, I don't like this movie at this point. Poppy and Lenny hide from the principal, and Gru and Lucy get home and see the principal throwing him around as the girls fight with her. And Junior gets captured by Maxime and Valentina, and as Junior is starting to love his dad, Gru gets in a pair of wheels they stole earlier in the film with Poppy and go after Junior along with Maxime and Valentina, and it lands on a building, and Junior is transformed into a cockroach. And Valentina almost squishes Gru until she makes a hole on the building to collapse, and the Gru and Maxime fight gets kind of intense, almost ending with Gru saying to Junior, "Dad, Dad loves you," and it changes him back and becomes Gru Junior. While Gru punches Maxime and the Mega Minions stop Maxime and gets him arrested by the AVL, and Junior calls Gru Dada, and they go back home and Dr. Nefario fixes Junior up with no wings, and Kyle and Lucky get back to the house, and it learns tricks to play dead, and Gru visits Maxime in jail to confess he stole his song on purpose for the reason he humiliated Maxime for pantsing him in the first place. And they dueled with the same song while in prison, and we get Vector, as well as El Macho, Scarlet Overkill, as well as her husband, and Balthazar, and the Vicious, I'll say 5. And the principal and Valentina are there, and Silas sings as well, and Poppy. And one plot hole in this scene really bothered me, and that's Vector, as he went to the moon at the end of the first movie and was in Mars in the end of the short movie in front of the movie Migration called Moon last year. So how did he get back really bothered me, while Minion stuck in the vending machine gets out and is stuck in the safe house. And credits roll with regular Minions messing with the Mega Minions, and they roll during the credits to one sleeping and one waking it up, and the climax was making me think that maybe it's time for the filmmakers to move on from the Minions, as this was the laziest cash grab I could have imagined. Now it's time for my rating. I'll give this movie a 3.2 out of 10. I didn't laugh once, but I might have smirked once or twice because it was clever, but in my opinion, the Minions, as far as their humor is concerned, is running out of gas, and in my opinion, Maxime felt like a wasted villain, as Will Ferrell was wasted by this movie in my opinion, as I didn't like the new characters, but the returning ones were fine in my opinion. It has problematic plot holes, and that bothered me, like the cameos at the end of the movie where Vector from the first movie was stuck on the moon from the first movie, and the short movie in the front of Migration last year, as this plot is done so many times. Like, there are references to some Marvel movies like Spider-Man 2, to Fantastic Four, to even the Hulk, as well as other movies like The Incredibles, Harry Potter, and Terminator 2, and there were bad references. The movie was sometimes painful to watch, and after this movie, I don't want any more from this series, as this is a non-recommendation for this movie, as it's maybe it's time for the filmmakers to retire of this series to move on, as this movie felt like the laziest cash grab I could have imagined. I cannot believe it's making money, and it is. I'm sad to say that. So I would like to thank you guys for joining me for returning to Despicable Me 4, and until whenever they can never stop making anymore.